Hello and welcome to my knitting vlog. My name is Annika and I am a knitwear designer from Finland. Well, originally from somewhere else, but never mind that. It's been a while since my last episode. I've been sick and life happens. But never mind that. Let's talk about socks. First things first, I think it's been already a month since the Laine 52 weeks of scrap yarn came out. And my sock pattern is in it. Let me show you just a second. I have to dig it up and hide the pattern. They look like this and they're called Gadzillion. It's okay, maybe I'll show it to you more than just 1 second. It's an homage to Godzilla and Gazillion yarn ends. You might need to V-win if you knit the socks and like each motive in a different color. I'll show you what I mean because I of course have the socks here and also the prototype. I kind of wanted to talk about submissions a bit, and this might not be the most interesting topic if you're not designing knitwear and you're never going to submit to any publications, so maybe just, I don't know, skip to the previous episode or wait for the next one. But if you stick around, I'm very happy that you're here. Okay, so let's talk about the design. These are the socks that are in the book, and I was really excited when they put out a call for scrap yarn designs, because probably like you and me both have tons of scrap yarns, and especially I have tons of scrap yarns in fingering white sock yarn. So that was one thing, and then the other thing was that I've been trying to come up with a design for socks where I could knit circles, which are not the easiest to do in knitwear design, at least not for me. If you know how to, then let me know. So I came up with this, and probably it's kind of like I reinvented the wheel. It's not like you haven't seen this motif before, but I thought that this is something unique, which is, yeah, I know, stupid of me. Everything has been invented already. But okay, so let's get back to the original design. The original design has a different toe. This is the original pair. And as you can see, it has tons of different colors and my hair on it, of course. Yes, I utilized every and any scrap yarn that I could find, and I ran out of some. And no, they are not in the same color sequence, because why should they be? I think they are a fun way to, I mean, you can do this like this, and it's a fun way to use a very tiny amount of scrap yarns. So in the finalized version, it has a wedge toe like this, and actually the heel is the same. It's a peasant heel. Both are simple to knit, and I know that the peasant heel or afterthought heel doesn't fit everybody's foot. Some might prefer a French heel, or you might want to do a little gusset here. More about gussets later. But okay, this has gazillion of colors and ends to weave in, hence the name. And this has 6 colors, yeah, I can count. It's knitted in Regia 4-ply tweed, the main color, and then Regia 4-ply for most of the colors except the yellow one. It's Järbo Raggi Junior, because the yellow they have in Regia 4-ply, it's a very light yellow, and I just didn't like the look of it. Yeah, sometimes well, not sometimes, all the time I think about color and how it looks. And why we ended up with these colors. Frankly, Laine wanted something more harmonious than these ones. These are very, I think, I'd say also like 80s socks. And you might notice that I also knit them on a tighter gauge than these ones. So these were for the masochists, and these are for everybody. Yeah, I like to knit socks on tiny needles. And this has Regia 4-ply and Arvetta mostly. Yes, this is Regia, the Grege colorway. I can't remember the number. Anyway, about submissions. I saw on Instagram knitwear designer. I saw a few posts from her. If I can remember her name, I will dig her up and put it in the description box below, because I just don't remember what she was called there. And she was talking about stopping designing because it's not a lucrative business, which is very true. Well, it is for some. She also mentioned, I think in her second post, she is from Finland, but the post was in English anyhow, that she hasn't had any luck in submitting anything to any magazines or publications. And I guess, yes, luck has to do with it. And also, I don't know, the more you try, the more you succeed, I guess. I mean, I hope so. But yeah, she mentioned that somebody from a magazine told her that you should be able to draw like this fashion style of drawings, how your garment would look on a body and whatnot. And frankly, of course, it would be lovely if I could draw like that. I mean, I can draw a stick figure and I can trace a body and then put a garment on it or a hat or whatever. And that's what I did way back when I started, when the first time I ever submitted anything to Brooklyn Tweed, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, I suck at drawing. And what you really need is somehow the ability to communicate how your design will look once it's done. So with socks it's easy, or easier. What I did was, I think I knitted this much of this sock. I wrote down the idea, I wrote down what yarns to use, I wrote down probably, well, these are all suggestions, I wrote down the suggested needle sizes. They wanted, I think, 3 sizes, but I'm not sure if they already mentioned that in the submission call, probably. So it needs to be such a design that you can grade it. What else? I also put the tiny Colorwork chart into it, and I probably stated that you can also do a more harmonious version with lesser colors. But if you really want a very scrappy project, then this is the way to go. And yeah, basically you write with a few sentences what your design is about. Then with, you know, these lines, you just add the basic info of yarns, needles, technique if you have something very special, or just, you know, write down color work, charts, maybe put the actual, like how many stitches, how many rounds or rows to for one pattern repeat. Anything else specific, then your contact info and your Ravelry and Instagram handle, of course, or well, link to those so that they can see what else have you been up to. And yes, usually it is really a hit and miss. I mean, when you submit to publications, if you're not selected, you never hear from them. They don't say anything like, yeah, thank you. I think the only exception was, I'm not sure if they're still making it, Making Stories magazine. At one point, you could ask them for feedback of your submissions, and that was very valuable. Like, I remember that I did submit a hat, but it was in a worsted weight, and then they said, well, yeah, well, this kind of the March number, so it was nice but too heavy for that time of the year, which makes sense. But I just thought that the hat was so much fun. Anyway, I still haven't published it. Maybe next fall. Yeah, and you don't need to knit the entire garment. If you don't plan to use the entire garment, do not knit the entire garment. That's my 2 cents of advice, of advice that you didn't ask for, because of course it takes time. And if you anyhow are going to write the pattern for it, then okay, go ahead. But mind you, if they will select your garment, they might want a different fit, they might want a different yarn. So if you've knit the entire garment, for example, I probably should mention what I'm wearing. This is a slipover that's kind of called the waffle slipover that I still haven't written the pattern for, and it's made from Ulysses. It's not made for Ulysses. Ulysses? I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyhow, so yeah, you've knit the entire garment in Dererum Natura Ulysses, and then the actual publication wanted in, I don't know, Sannes Garn Pergunt. So you need to re-knit it again, and then you cannot show the original one only after it's published. So short story, well, long story short, don't knit the entire garment. Well, you can knit hats and socks, that's fine, you can wear them anyhow. Oh, I just noticed that I haven't woven in all the ends. I have a bag somewhere with all the ends that I did weave in, because yeah, I cut the yarn after every new yarn. Maybe you can see it here. Probably did a poor job on this one. Yeah. Oh, maybe I forgot that I haven't woven in the ends. Oh dear. I should do something about it. I'm planning to gift these to my mom, or maybe keep these ones myself and then gift these ones to her. But yes, I've woven in the ends on this one. I just had lunch and I think there's something in between my teeth. If you knit the socks, the Gadzillion Socks, just one tip, do manage your yarns. I mean, you need to twist them around if you're using 6 yarns. Otherwise, if you don't, then you will end up with a rope, which is not sexy. Let's put it that way. And you won't be able to wear your socks because it's very thick. I think there's some tips in the book how to do this. You can use the yarn balls, not the 6 yarn balls, but you can do it in tarja style, like make smaller balls from the 50-gram balls if you're using Regia. So that's about that. Well, maybe that's not about that, because I wanted also to show you or say 2 things about this book. Like I said, I really like the idea, and I was very happy that I got selected. It was funny because I just came out of a yarn shop, Lite Nystan, I think that's what it's called, in Stockholm, and I was on my way to grab some lunch when I got the email. This is the first time that I ever got any design to Laine. I tried a few times before, way back when, and now I got lucky. Because I think it has to do with luck, and it has to do with the fact that it fits what they're looking for. And yeah, I have an issue with, I do take things personally, but it's gotten better the older I get. So nowadays when I get a no thank you, or well, not a no thank you, because like I said, they don't say that. But when I don't get selected, I'm like, yeah, oh well, it wasn't what they were looking for. It's nothing personal. And I hope that it's like that with everybody. So anyhow, yes, like I said, such a great idea. And I have a sweater that I would like to show you that I think is just awesome. It's from, let me see the name. I can't see these days. It's called Chromelia by Marina Storm, and it's knitted in Walk Collection. Shamdike, wait, let me see. Oops. Cottage Merino by Walk Collection. and Tough Sock by Walk Collection held double. I think it's a DK weight. I don't know why. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, I think it's a lovely design. It's basically a yoke sweater with the same idea incorporated in the ribbing and the cuffs and the hem. So yeah, and there's also this other color version. I don't know the yarn from that one, but just a sec. I have to put that notebook there. This one, if you want a less vivid color, this is also lovely. And yes, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I think that Laine is doing a scrap along, but you need to go and check out their social media for that, because I don't remember from when to where it runs. So if you're interested in joining their scrap along, then please do so. And knit my socks, of course. I do recommend this book. I very rarely buy knitting pattern books these days, for obvious reasons maybe, because I want to be featured in them, not buying them. But what I do buy is I buy books that help me become a better designer. I'll talk about those books in a later episode. But anyhow, I also like the scarf pattern at the cover. I can't remember who made that. I think she was a Japanese designer. Projects for crafters. It also has at least one crochet design and one half crochet, half knit. I can't remember them all. I'm probably, what I wanted to say, can't remember. Probably. Oh yeah, in my previous episode I said that it would be fun to do a sock knit along, and I might do that at some point, but maybe not for summer, although summer would be nice to knit socks. Nobody wants to carry around the sweater except me. But yeah, talking about socks, these socks. In my previous episode, I mentioned that these were inspired by my migraine episodes, and since that episode, I had 3 migraine episodes. Not fun, but anyhow, and somebody said that they would be actually intrigued if the socks would be called migraine socks, and I was thinking about that because that was the original name, but then I thought that, well, they sound kind of painful, and I changed it to Ripple socks, but then I changed it back to my migraine socks, and now they are in test knitting, and hopefully the pattern will comes out next week. They are knitted in Vilkolainen Arvetta, and if you want more details about this, just watch my previous episode. And talking about socks, I don't know why, I really like designing Colorwork socks. They're so much fun, and you can use, like in the Gadzillion Socks, such a tiny amount of yarns, but there's also something about socks that you have such a kind of limited space and limited canvas, so to speak, and it's fun to try and put different motifs into such a tiny space. Oh, someone also mentioned, I can't speak, also mentioned that my socks look huge on the screen. Well, maybe because I have to hold them up in front of my face so that the camera would actually, what's the word for it? Zoom? Yeah, probably that. But I measured my feet. If I remember correctly, they are 20 cm circumferences, so this is about that. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, people have different shoe sizes, so what looks large to some might be very small to someone else. But yes, talking about socks, I've been knitting tons of them, and maybe I'll continue in the same color family, but they look so different. At least they look to me. I mean, you probably will say that no, they are still actually well, completely the same. Yes and no. I mean, the main color is the same. It's Arvetta Geranium. Don't know what's the number of it. But I wanted to try some very simple graphic motif and add the Arvetta Marzipan melange. Still don't know the number that I had some leftover of into it, and see how that looks. It's again a peasant heel without the gussets. And for the second time in my life, I did some anatomical toes. I tried these already last year at some point. I mean, knitting the anatomical toes, but I haven't published that pattern yet either. These don't have any name, so if you want to suggest a name, then please feel free to do so. I hope to get these also out for test knitting soon. I haven't graded it yet, of course. And yeah, more socks. These actually have a name. They're called the building block socks. And they are just simple colorwork socks with very, very easy motifs to remember. And again, this is Arvetta charcoal and marzipan. Leftovers of leftovers. It has a gusset. And it will also probably come out in multiple sizes. And I think these socks are actually great to use up again scrap yarns, because you can actually knit each motif in different scrap yarns or just each block. And I don't know why, I just wanted to call these building blocks. I think they're fun. About this motif, probably it's nothing that amazing, but again, I draw it at some point last year, and I use it in another design that I will hopefully show you later on this year. And again, did I mention already that the charcoal is also leftover? Probably not. I'm trying to use up all my Arvetta yarns, but at the same time I keep buying them, so I don't know when will that happen. Probably never, but I almost did use up the marzipan, and then I went to Helsinki and I bought 2 more bowls. What are the Arvetta ones? They're not really bowls. And then, last but not least, I think these are the most beautiful socks that I ever designed. And yes, I am saying that aloud, because they are. I mean, just look at this. These are, again, Arvetta. It's probably not the burgundy, it's probably the Bordeaux, Chinese red and marzipan again, with a peasant heel and nothing fancy, just wedge toes. And for the first time in my life, I knit socks. Well, probably the first time in my life, I knit socks where I use 3 colors in one round. But thankfully, it's a very limited amount of rounds that I have to do that, because I don't really care knitting with 3 colors. And no, they don't make the socks very thick. Yeah, they kind of look like Christmassy. I call these granola girl socks, which I know it's a very misleading name, because granola girls, to my knowledge, wear very muted colors like off-white and beige and moss green and pine green and browns and those kind of colors. But this is my take on the granola girl socks, because I'm imagining wearing these next fall when the foliage will turn again to brown and yellow and red. And yeah, I'll go on a hike. So if you're interested in knitting any of these, keep your eyes peeled and go over to Instagram and follow me. Yes, I said that, follow me please. That's about it for today, except that I did buy some sock yarn. I'll show you those. And oh, I have these with me, but I haven't finished the second pair. These are Java Jive, that's what I call them. socks. Yes, as you can see from all these, I'm into knitting a graphic motif socks. Well, why not? And yes, I did buy sock yarn. There was a dyer from Panta, which is close to Helsinki, visiting our local yarn shop, and I got these from Laurel Knits. You can find her shop online. She does ship worldwide, to my knowledge. Very lovely colors. This is her sock yarn. It's super sock, and it's 400 meters per 100 grams. Super wash merino, 85%, 50% nylon. This is the new colorway, City Girl. This is Autumn Confetti and what was this? Fields of Gold. Oh no. Why I said oh no is if there's any resemblance to any songs like Fields of Gold, then it immediately will start to, well, I will hear it in my head, and sometimes it takes a while to get it out. But yeah. You remember me, dee 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 dee. That's about that. I think I can't sing more because YouTube has some licenses and whatnot, and I don't have any permission to use Sting's song. So yes, I'm gonna go out because I've been inside the entire day and probably take a dip in the lake. It's very cold. I mean, it's almost the end of May and it's plus 8 degrees. I mean, not the weather, the water. But yeah, and since I've been lazy this winter, it does feel cold. But yeah, I'm gonna go and take a dip. And I can actually swim. I mean, I did swim like 4 meters yesterday? No, 2 days ago. And then, oh yeah, somebody asked me over on Instagram, and if you don't want to hear this, just, you can stop it here, on how to do ice swimming or cold swimming. And my tips are, you can find some tips already on my Instagram if you scroll my feed. But my tips are really that if it feels cold the first time, go in a second time. It's not that bad anymore because you already know that it will shock you. So that's my one tip. Maybe I'll do a separate video with more tips. And yeah, I'm gonna go up north, and if I can and have time, I will hopefully get to make a new video over there, but we'll see about that. Until next time, bye!